The low thunder of motorcycles rattled the windows of Rosie's diner as Christmas lights flickered on outside, glowing softly against the cold New Mexico evening, while the sky faded into winter shades of gold and red. Inside, 23-year-old waitress Maya Torres wiped the counter again, her breath fogging slightly each time the door opened, her tired feet aching after a long holiday shift. Business had finally slowed, with only a few customers left warming their hands around coffee mugs and plates of half-finished pie. She heard the sound before she saw it, the deep growl of Harley engines rolling into the snowy gravel lot. Maya paused and looked up, counting 5 bikes parked beneath a strand of blinking red and green lights. The first rider climbed off, a huge man in a leather vest covered in patches, his gray beard resting against his chest and his tattooed arms telling stories of years on the road. The diner went quiet, conversations dropping to whispers as old Fred suddenly focused very hard on his coffee. Maya felt her heart beat faster, but she stood straight, picked up menus, and reminded herself of her grandmother's words about meeting everyone with respect first. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. The door chimed softly as the group stepped inside, cold air rushing in with them. The big man, whose vest read Bull, held the door open carefully while another biker gently pushed in a small wheelchair. Maya's smile faltered when she saw the little girl sitting in it, no older than 7, with dark curls, bright eyes, and a body that didn't move easily. She recognized cerebral palsy right away, remembering her younger cousin. "Good evening," Maya said warmly, guiding them toward a corner booth decorated with a tiny plastic Christmas tree. "We'll need space for the wheelchair," Bull said, his voice rough but polite. Maya quickly moved a chair, making room, and the bikers settled in around the girl like a quiet shield, their tough appearance softened by the way they watched over her. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Maya asked, kneeling slightly, but Bull answered gently. "This is my daughter, Lily. She understands everything, just can't talk back." Maya met Lily's bright hazel eyes and smiled. "It's nice to meet you, Lily. Christmas dinner tonight, huh?" Lily's eyes shifted toward her father, and Bull nodded. "Chicken tenders, mashed potatoes, cut small, and a chocolate milkshake." Maya wrote it down, then took the rest of the orders, noticing how these men joked softly yet never stopped checking on Lily. When she returned with drinks, Bull carefully adjusted Lily's position, his massive hands steady and patient, while the others made sure the milkshake stayed close. "Food'll be ready soon," Maya said, and Bull thanked her, his eyes carrying a deep, familiar tiredness. From the counter, Maya watched him help Lily drink, tie a small holiday-themed bib around her neck, and calm the table whenever voices grew too loud. As she brought out the food, she overheard one biker telling Bull he needed rest, that even Christmas didn't stop exhaustion, and Bull brushed it off, but Maya saw it clearly, the quiet, heavy fatigue of a father who never stopped caring, never slowed down, and never allowed himself to be weak, not even during the holidays. Maya carefully set the plates down, making sure everything was close enough to reach without strain, and when she stopped at Lily's chicken tenders and mashed potatoes, decorated with a tiny paper snowflake stuck to the plate, she noticed Bull hesitating as he tried to balance his own meal while preparing to feed his daughter. It was clear to her right away that one of them would end up eating cold food, or waiting, or struggling through both at once. And without making a big deal of it, Maya leaned in and spoke softly, asking if he would like her to help feed Lily while he ate, explaining that she had a cousin with cerebral palsy and knew how it worked: small bites, patience, watching carefully for swallowing, never rushing. Bull looked up at her, surprise written all over his tired face. And for a moment she thought he might refuse out of habit or pride. But then Lily made a small sound and shifted her gaze between them. And something in Bull's expression softened and cracked just a little as he asked if she was sure, reminding her that it took time and she had other tables. Maya glanced around the diner, now glowing with warm Christmas lights and quiet holiday music, and saw that no one was in a hurry. So she smiled and told him she had time and that she and Lily were about to become friends anyway, which made Lily's eyes brighten in a way that felt almost like a smile. Bull nodded once, deep and firm, gratitude clear without needing words, and Maya pulled up a chair, cutting the chicken into careful pieces and speaking gently to Lily as she offered the first bite, moving slowly, watching closely, respecting every pause. Each bite took effort and attention, and Maya filled the silence with soft conversation about Christmas decorations in town, the cold desert mornings, and the way the sky looked like a postcard this time of year, wanting Lily to feel included and normal, not defined by limits. Beside her, she heard Bull finally eat a hot meal, the tension at the table easing as his brothers relaxed and talked quietly about long winter roads and holiday rides. Maya praised Lily after each swallow, moved on to the mashed potatoes, and slowly became aware of Bull watching her with something close to awe, telling her she had a natural way, that most people either avoided helping or treated Lily like she was fragile or unaware, while Maya simply saw her. Maya swallowed hard and replied that Lily was easy to see, especially with the brightest eyes in the whole diner, and Lily made another small sound that Bull clearly understood, his eyes shining as he looked away. The rhythm settled in comfortably, and Maya learned they were riding east for Christmas, that Bull had become a single father after Lily's mother walked away, and that these intimidating bikers had become her chosen uncles, protectors, and family. When Maya asked about the milkshake, Lily's excitement was unmistakable, and Maya laughed softly, holding the cup steady, giving breaks, never rushing, while Bull watched quietly, his face softer than when he arrived. When Gunnar asked how she knew all this, Maya explained about her cousin Sophia and the lessons she'd learned about patience and love without words, smiling at Lily as she finished what she could eat. Maya gently wiped Lily's face, praising her, and the connection in Lily's eyes made Maya's chest ache in the best way. When Bull asked what they owed her, Maya stood and said firmly that she wouldn't take anything for doing what was right, reminding him that kindness wasn't a service and that Lily was worth every moment. Bull stood suddenly, pressing a card into her hand instead of money, telling her with fierce sincerity that she was family now and that if she ever needed anything, she should call, because she had given his daughter dignity. The bikers paid and left a generous tip, each of them thanking Maya in turn. And as Bull paused at the door under the glowing Christmas lights, he reminded her that family meant something sacred to them. Maya watched through the window as he carefully secured Lily into a sidecar decorated with a small red ribbon, his movements practiced and full of love, and as the motorcycles rumbled off into the cold Christmas night, Maya stood there holding the card, knowing her holiday had just been changed forever. The wheelchair was folded up and secured to another bike, and within moments the Christmas-lit parking lot filled with the deep rumble of engines as the riders pulled away in a tight formation, Bull leading with Lily safe beside him, a small red ribbon fluttering on her sidecar as they disappeared into the cold night. The diner felt strangely quiet after they left, almost hollow, and Rosie stepped out from the kitchen, wiping her hands on her apron, saying she had been running that place for decades and had never witnessed anything quite like what she'd just seen. Maya nodded softly, still holding Bull's card, and said they were good people, to which Rosie replied that the best hearts often come wrapped in the most unexpected ways and that Maya's abuela would have been proud of her kindness. Maya tucked the card into her pocket and finished closing up under the glow of Christmas decorations, thinking she would probably never see them again because bikers were always moving on, but she was wrong. 3 weeks later, during a quiet holiday lunch shift, the familiar sound of motorcycles made her look up, and her heart jumped when Bull and his crew rolled in again, Lily smiling in her sidecar, bundled in winter clothes. From then on, they stopped by whenever their routes passed through New Mexico, especially around holidays, and what started as visits slowly became family. Bull kept his promise in ways Maya never expected, like the time her car broke down before Christmas and she came outside to find it repaired, cleaned, and ready to go, with the keys left behind the counter and a note that simply said family helps family. When her apartment building caught fire during a cold January night and she lost nearly everything, she arrived at work the next morning to find Bull and his brothers waiting with a truck full of furniture, clothes, and household items, many still with tags, and they spent the whole day helping her move into a new place, brushing off her thanks by saying that was what uncles did. The biggest change came months later when Maya decided to apply for nursing school, inspired by Lily, her cousin, and everything she'd learned about patients and care, but the cost felt impossible. Somehow Bull found out, and days later Maya received a letter telling her an anonymous donor had created a scholarship covering her full tuition and living expenses. When she called Bull in tears, he told her firmly that she would accept it, explaining that she had fed his daughter when she didn't have to, treated her like a person instead of a problem, and given him a moment of peace during one of the hardest Christmas seasons of his life, when he was exhausted, scared, and doubting himself as a father. He told her he believed she belonged in nursing, that the world needed caregivers who saw disabled children as people first, and that this wasn't charity but an investment in her future and Lily's. For years later, Maya graduated at the top of her class in pediatric care, and at her winter graduation ceremony, 5 bikers in leather vests sat proudly in the front row beside a teenage Lily, cheering louder than anyone as Maya crossed the stage. At the small Christmas celebration afterward, Bull gave her a silver pendant shaped like an angel with motorcycle wings, engraved with words that meant family forever, telling her she had changed their lives and given him hope, and Maya hugged him tightly, calling him Dad, before kneeling to hug Lily, whose bright eyes and crooked smile said more than words ever could. Today, Maya runs a Christmas season support program for families with disabled children, funded by an annual holiday motorcycle ride led by Bull. And every year, hundreds of bikers roll into town under strings of lights, proving that heroes don't always look the way people expect, and that sometimes all it takes to change a life is patience, kindness, a plate of chicken tenders, a chocolate milkshake, and the courage to do what feels right.